Welcome back, everyone, to Lunch Punch Book Club time. We have Mayor Dave Berger with us today. We read Breath, the New Science of a Lost Art. Okay, I was trying to explain this to someone. Am I simplifying and just saying we're breathing all wrong? And probably since the Industrial Revolution or maybe before, right?
Yeah. It was a fascinating book. My daughter-in-law actually got me the book a year ago, and I was really dove into it and discovered all kinds of things that I had no idea about. I suffer from severe sleep apnea, and so even though I wear this device that helps me not suffocate at night,
Sure.
right, it's not a cure for a whole series of things that my body has as a result of not breathing correctly. And so I think one of the things about this that I found fascinating is the author, I mean, a third of the book is his autobiography, right?
Sure.
It's about his process of trying to consult with medical, scientific, cultural, and religious gurus, right? And discovering what worked and what didn't. And then, of course, the rest of the book is about a lot of the science and the technique. But the whole idea that, one, we should be breathing principally in and out through our nose. You think about it.
Right.
I mean, most of us don't. And then the other is to increase your lung capacity, which actually allows you to expel carbon dioxide with it. And I thought the one bit of data here that was fascinating was that for every 10 pounds of weight loss that you might experience, 8.5 pounds comes through your breath.
Right, yes.
Wasn't that? I mean, that was kind of mind-boggling.
Right.
That it could be a key to managing weight and overall body fitness. So I was fascinated. Plus, at the end, of course, it gives you 10 pages.
Right, which I have that mark because I'm going to make copies of that, you know, to train on it. Yeah,
some of that training stuff was, I'm telling you.
It's intense.
It is very intense. The whole laying on your back thing and trying to do that stuff. Yeah, I realize how screwed up I am.
I mean, this, really, exactly. And it makes you think about it every time you catch yourself with your mouth open. You're like, shut my mouth and, breathe through your nose. But, I mean, he as you mentioned, it went through science and stuff. Even going back and studying the skulls back in the, centuries ago, and how they had straight teeth and their nasal passages were bigger. I mean, we've evolved to have this problem of breathing.
Yeah, and it was, as you mentioned, tracing it back to the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, but also the different ways and that specifically connects to what we eat.
Right.
Right?
We don't chew hard things anymore.
Right, chew more.
And that process of chewing actually helps the skeleton of your skull frame itself, as well as the breathing part. I mean, it's just absolutely what he connects here for folks in very visual and substantive way, I think is something that anybody that's got any sense of a breathing or sleep apnea problem really need to read this book.
Yeah, and he talks so much.
How about that study he did where he plugged his nose for 10 days it was?
Oh my gosh, and he was a wreck after well, and you talked about the evolution of it, and you talked about the skulls and that kind of thing, and I thought, okay, well, we're talking about hundreds and thousands of years here. There's no way we can change this, but as you said, they would do some of these things, and within days they would start to see positive results.
That's right. Yeah, these are not, as he talks about, your skull is not immutable.
Right.
There are structures there that can change, and they can change rapidly for the better or for the worse. And knowing how to actually stimulate that is important.
Yeah.
And it seems like yoga, that can play. I mean, I've always thought, I should try yoga. Now I'm really like, I should try yoga and the breathing and things like that. I mean, it's fascinating, this book is.
It is.
Yeah, and when I explained it to people, that was, as you said, to simplify, breathe through your nose. That's the key to. And I told you, and maybe you guys have this issue too, when I walk or when I try to exercise, that's when I really notice I'm a mouth breather when I do that kind of thing. So is that the toughest thing, do you
I think so.
Yeah.
Although I have discovered even when I have the sleep apnea or the CPAP mask on, I'm breathing through my mouth.
Yeah.
I wake up and I notice that my mouth is open. So I've got to figure out how to actually cure that in order to get the best benefit of the CPAP.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. All right, well, let's change gears because you're out of office in a couple of days. We just had the swearing in of Sharita this morning.
That's right.
What do you think your biggest accomplishment has been as being mayor? What would you tout as you're really proud of?
Well, certainly the defensive actions we took to save the refinery and the tank plant, I think those have long-term positive consequences. But I think we also, when you look at the overall condition of the local economy and the renewal of the downtown that's now, I think, undeniably underway, those are things that are important and have momentum, and consequently, I think we can all be confident that things will move forward. Lima's a great community, and in my remarks this morning at the swearing in, I commented on the fact that at a change of command ceremony at the JSMC a number of years ago, one of the retiring commanders transformed an acronym about Lima. Formerly, he had been hearing that some used the name Lima and interpreted it as Lost in Middle America. But he and his family had found that instead, Lima is a place where life is more abundant.
I like that.
I like that.
And that sense of being proud of our community. I think there's a lot of folks that are proud of our community and are beginning to act on that pride in a way that I think has positive energy and momentum. And I mean, you look at the investors that are investing in the downtown. You look at the number of folks that actually now say, I'm going to downtown Lima for either an event at the Civic Center or at some of our restaurants. That wasn't happening 30 years ago. This was a place that was becoming a desert, and we were hollowing out. And I think that that's no longer the case.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, that's the best way to sum it up. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it. You could be our professional book reviewer if you got time on your hands.
Keep reading, he does.
That'd be the way to go.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, stay with us. We'll be back right after this.